The original Silent Hill team is back and they have formed their own studio called Bokeh Game Studios. I am so excited about this because Silent Hill is one of my favourite games of all time. It's such a unique game and it's hard to come across another game like it. So I'm really excited to see what kind of games that they'll make next. Before we go on any further, let's have a look at who's in this studio. So first we have Junya Okura. He was the lead designer for Gravity Rush series and he's worked on Forbidden Siren series as well. Next we have Kazunoko Sato. He did the character designs for Gravity Rush and he's worked as a producer for The Last Guardian. Also we have Keiichiro Toyama. He directed the first Silent Hill game and the Gravity Rush series and Forbidden Siren as well. There's a few people missing. For example, the director of Silent Hill 3, Kazuhide Nakazawa. The last thing he worked on was Metal Gear Solid Survive. Also the director of Silent Hill 2, Masashi Tsuboyama. The last thing he worked on was Nintendo's Yoshi's Craft World. And we're missing the creature designer for the Silent Hill series, Masashiro Ito. At the start of the year on his Twitter, he revealed he is working on a new project as a core member. And of course we can't forget Akira Yamaoka, who did the music for the Silent Hill games. He is doing music for a new game called The Medium, which is coming out on the Xbox X series. As soon as I heard the music in this trailer, I knew it sounded very familiar. And it looks like it even has a second world that looks very demonic, just like Silent Hill. So that's another game I'm looking forward to, but I want to be very cautious as I looked at the games this developer has made, which I'm not too keen on, but we'll just have to wait and see for any upcoming trailers. Even though the full team is not back together, we still have a lot of talented people in this studio. I'm not entirely sure what to expect from them because they are their own studio and they're not getting any funding from any major companies. You see this a lot in the Japanese gaming industry actually, where you see a lot of major developers leaving and making their own studio. For example, we have Shinji Mikami, who made Tango, Hideki Kamiya and Asushi Inaba with Platinum Studios. Or like how Tabata was given the choice from Square Enix if he wanted to direct his own game. Instead, he left and made his own studio. If we have the director of Gravity Rush, we might expect another game like Gravity Rush because they don't have a lot of funding compared to other major studios. It's like how Hideo Kojima left Konami to then make Kojima Productions. He then got lucky enough to get picked up by Sony to then make a AAA high budget game, Death Stranding. However, even though Bokeh Game Studios doesn't have a lot of budget, horror games don't really need a lot of budget anyway, but I'm also a little concerned on how long it will take for them to develop a game. Originally, the team worked for Konami in the 90s, and then in the 2000s, they got hired by Sony. In the early 2000s, when Sony hired them, they probably said, "We need you to make a horror game," and that's what they made. They made Forbidden Siren. Unlike any other horror game at the time, Forbidden Siren had elements of stealth. It had the feature called Sight Jack, where you can look into the eyes of the enemy and using that you can hide from them. It definitely made the game more intense and a whole lot more scarier. Another game that made me feel like this sort of was Last of Us. It didn't have the Sight Jack feature, but it definitely kept me at the edge of my seat. 8 years later, when Sony released the Vita, and that's when they made Gravity Rush in 2012, which came out 9 years after Forbidden Siren.
I'm afraid it's been 9 years.
But what type of game will they be making? Looking at Forbidden Siren and then Gravity Rush, will they make a game like Gravity Rush? But judging by the artwork, it looks like it'll be similar to Silent Hill. The creatures look a lot more deformed in terms of their body. Is there a hidden symbolism with the extended limbs or the unusual shaped head? In this picture you can see a large human-like figure behind this man, but yeah, it definitely looks like they're steering more towards Silent Hill. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below.